For making this session part of your evening. This is one of my favorite nights of the year because our task, our sell Waukesha West High School to all of you as prospective families. And I have to tell you, I have a biased opinion, but I can't imagine a more easy and enjoyable job. This is fun stuff. And so, my name is Kyle Lemieux. I serve as Associate Principal Athletic Director here at West. This is my 6th year in the role, and I always say I had a former boss who used to call this place Disneyland. And it's not because we just run around and have fun all day and don't take anything seriously, but actually what I really take pride in with this school is that we do an incredible amount of work to create moments and memories so that as these young men and women walk through their experience here, they're able to leave with something from this place that they could not have replicated anywhere else. And so I'm excited to brag a little bit about what West Athletics have to offer, and we'll go from there. So, the first things first, we offer 28 athletic programs here at Waukesha West High School between fall, winter, spring, and summer. I will make a brief mention that actually the summer of 2018, this coming summer, will be the final year that we sponsor summer baseball here at Waukesha West. It will be moving into a spring season sport for the summer of 2019. So all of you who play baseball, your freshman year here at West, baseball will be a spring sport. That's late breaking, unofficial. Over the last couple of weeks or so, we've been going over a shift into a new mobile-friendly platform. So if you go on that tonight and notice, oh, this tab doesn't work, this link isn't quite acting appropriately, don't worry about it. Come back and visit in a few days and you'll see all the information you're looking for. But that's just a snapshot of what it looks like right now. So in order to participate in high school athletics, one of the biggest differences is that you have to be able to be declared eligible. And so to be declared eligible, what it does not look like is mom and dad drop you off in the parking lot and you brought some sort of youth sports fee and they said good luck. All right? There's actually an incredible amount of things that we have to cross off the list in order to have you as an eligible student athlete. You need to have a physical on file, and so one of my recommendations, families, would be that if you are planning to get a physical done at some point during this year, and the timing does not necessarily matter for a different obligation, I would encourage you to wait until after April 1st. If you can wait until after April 1st, that physical would be good for not only your child's freshman year, but also your sophomore year. If you already did the doctor visit this year and it's done and over, that's fine. It would still be good for that freshman year, but wouldn't be able to carry over. Typically, students have to get 2 physicals during their high school career, okay? But take a look at the things that we would require. There's concussion and spectator forms. There's a $150 athletic fee that is a flat fee. So there's no family cap. Multiply that by the number of athletes, unfortunately. But the good news is that it's not a sport-by-sport charge. In prior years, it used to be maybe something like $75 per sport, whatever it might look like. So if you're paying $150 and you're a 1-sport athlete, you're not really getting your money's worth. If you're a 3-sport athlete, now you're getting some bang for your buck, okay? So that's the athletic fee. You may not have any outstanding financial obligations. And so if you go on Infinite Campus, click on fees, scroll to the bottom, hopefully for your sake it says 0. But if it doesn't say 0, that has to be able to be cleared before we could declare you eligible. One of the biggest changes going into high school athletics, talking to the students here, is grades matter. From opening day, grades matter. You must carry a 2.0 GPA, and you may not have a failing or incomplete grade in more than one class. So, let's say I'm Johnny and I have A's across the board. I'm doing terrific, except math and science. They always are stumbling blocks, and I'm failing both of those courses. I could have an A in every other class, but I would be declared ineligible. The best way to get out front of this is to have great practice in your study habits now, so that when you walk in next year, you feel like you are ready to go as a student athlete. We take great pride when we calculate out the GPAs of our programs, and it is no mistake that the programs that experience success year in and year out, their GPAs, guys, are off the charts. So take that and run with it, please, please. Next fall, in August or so, all of you get to attend a new student orientation meeting with me to hear about our code of conduct. We won't go into that a lot tonight, but we are passionate about doing things the right way and being able to carry yourself in a manner that makes yourself and others around you proud. And so we'll dive into that further, but that's a really big piece here. So all of our registration is online, and so you will start to get communication next summer. And one of the common things that happens is I know I'll go in my office tomorrow and I'll see a note that someone who attended. The definition of transformation is a thorough dramatic change in form or appearance over time, right? And so at West, we are so fortunate because we have great kids walk through these halls. Another word I would use is, for the most part, we have kids who are compliant, right? They're people pleasers. They want to do well, they want to please coaches and so on. And so if a coach asks or states, hey, here's how we do things, okay, yep, yes sir, yes ma'am, we'll do our best, right? We want to impress. But if that's the only reason that you're carrying yourself in a certain way, it rings hollow, and as soon as that person or that accountability isn't there, it could fall flat. And so our goal is that over time, with our consistent modeling, with our positive atmosphere, with our methods of high integrity and high character process of just the way we go about things, we hope that you will find that so attractive that you will take it on as your own. And what's really cool when you see this happen is that now all of a sudden, these students who were underclassmen become these upperclassmen leaders. And now they want to give back. And all of a sudden we have this legacy where everybody wants to get better. And everybody wants to be more about someone else than they are about themselves. They want to do the right thing even when no one is looking. And they grow. And they mature. And they become aspiring adults. And that's the next portion of this, where we know, like some of you walked in right now, it's not really hard to be taller than I am, but some of you are towering, right? And I'll see others in the hall at school, and it looks like they're 23, getting ready for the NFL draft. And then I have a 20-second conversation, and I realize they're still 14, right? And so we're going to set adult-like goals. This is a rigorous environment. We have absolute expectations. But the role of adults in this process is to come alongside underneath you and help you achieve those goals. All right? So we get it. You are aspiring adults. You are not there yet. But we're going to put you in an awesome practice atmosphere to be able to face adult-like opportunities now when it's safe, so that when you have to leave this place in 4+ years, things look a little bit easier. Okay? The final part is through athletics. And so transforming aspiring adults is a big deal. I think it's even more fun and exciting that we get to do this through sport. And I know that our students are engaged when we're in our classrooms. But I also know that there's something different when they get out onto the field, the court, the mat, pool, ice, whatever it might be. They're locked in, they're engaged. And so with our coaches, we constantly talk about not only is that an amazing opportunity, but it's one that we cannot afford to miss. And so we take it very seriously to have the power, the privilege, and the platform that we do to interact with student athletes. So one of the other things I like to put out front right now, even as you are considering what it looks like to attend high school, is this. If you are a student athlete, you are therefore choosing the privilege of participation. Let me say that again. You are choosing the privilege of participation. This is not handed to you. This is not automatic. It is something special to wear West across your chest. And what that means is that you also have more to lose. So if Johnny is in the fight in the back hallway during third hour, and he makes that terrible choice and he has to face the consequences for that, he'd probably be suspended from school. He'd have to face some other discussions and so on. But then after that consequence is done, Johnny's life moves on. However, if Susie all of a sudden picks a fight over in the front lobby here 3 days later, but Susie happens to be a student athlete, not only will she have to face the consequences, the suspension, whatever it might be from a school aspect, but then that person gets to come and meet with me and say, not only did you have those consequences, but now I have to take away X percentage of your season because you have missed the mark. And because you are held to a higher standard, because you choose to participate, we have to take that away. All right? We'll dive into that more next fall, but it is always the biggest shock the first time you deal with a student who happens to encounter some discipline because they feel like it is a mountain. And so the best way to avoid that is to be proactive. Become good decision makers now so you never have to go into that icky conversation. In 5+ years now, I've had to do that conversation and that ring around about 140 times. It's not fun, but we work through it. But my hope is that none of you would ever have to experience that. So get used to making great decisions now. To make a left turn a little bit, one of the other things I want to address is a lot of times when people come to meetings like this, and especially if they've never had any family members go through high school before, they're getting really pumped up because they think, all right, this is my chance to start working towards the S word, my scholarship, right? And I would stand here before you and say, I love if you have goals. I love if you have ambitions and you want to work hard and get after it. However, if going into high school athletics, your sole purpose for doing so is to someday hopefully earn a scholarship, I think you will find yourself incredibly frustrated most of the time. The reality is that across high school sports in our nation, 1.9% of student athletes are awarded a scholarship. Now, when you hear the word scholarship, I would also caution you, because scholarship does not necessarily mean you are an NCAA football or basketball player and you have a full ride. Scholarship could also mean, hey, I like the way you throw. You can touch mid-80s. I think you could come and essentially throw some batting practice for us. We'll pay for your books first semester of your freshman year. What do you think? You want to be a scholarship athlete? And so I would just warn you that there are awesome opportunities, and we have been so fortunate to have a number of young men and women sign their national letters of intent and move on. And so if that's part of your goal structure, great. We'll come alongside you. But if that's the only reason and your primary motivation for doing this, I feel like you're going to miss out on a lot of what we have to offer. All right? Here's just a picture of two people who are outstanding representatives of West. Joe Schobert, fortunately he lost to the Packers yesterday. But Joe had a good game. Joe was missed. He didn't get recruited heavily, and look where he is now. And Danny, who you could argue is the best female athlete to ever walk through this school, just by the nature of the sport she played. You know, she didn't have a full scholarship off her ride and so on. So these are just two examples of people who are amazing athletes, and it didn't necessarily work that way. So again, the alignment of goals. And if you really want a scholarship, if you really want to start getting ready today to earn yourself a scholarship, you know what you do? Study. There's so much money in academic scholarships that is almost baffling. And so do what you need to do now to put yourself in a position to earn an academic scholarship. And if this happens to be part of the puzzle, so be it. The other thing we really see as important is being a multi-sport athlete. We've done different presentations and things about the reality of youth sports. I would be one that unfortunately says that a lot of what's going on in youth sports today is broken. One of the biggest things that happens that makes me cringe is that athletes, even your ages and younger, feel the need to specialize. That the only way I might get that scholarship, or even the only way I'm going to make my high school team, is if I focus on this one sport and then let everything else fall away. And I would tell you, there is nothing further from the truth. We want athletes who compete. And as you listen to college recruiters, as you're around, you know, the big idea of what does it look like to move to the next level, to be able to be successful in our sport programs now, again, it is by no accident that the students who see the greatest amount of success are the ones that spread themselves across a number of programs. And they might tell you, yeah, you know, track isn't my favorite thing, but I do it because I want to get ready for sport A, B, or C. That's awesome. But what we really want, and what you can't replicate by just doing a training session or doing an off-season practice, is you can't replicate that competition. Or you have to get in the blocks, or you have to line up at a free throw line, you have to face a pressure-filled moment, and you have to beat the other person wearing other colors. And so as you hear us talk about multi-sport athletes, that's something that we take incredibly seriously. And as it says there, as I kind of interview ex-Wolverines and say, hey, how's it going? You know, what do you wish you knew, right? As I can report back, so many of them say, oh, Mr. Lemieux, I wish I would have done more sports and taken advantage of more opportunities while I was here. Just a short clip I want to show you to give you a little bit of an idea of kind of what we get to face.
Oh, I see a lot of new faces here. Who wants to go first?
Hi, I'm Jill. I'm a recovering soccer mom.
Hi, Jill.
Ever since Bailey was 5, I've been driving her to early morning practices, after school games, weekend tournaments, summer camps, indoor winter league, Spratum league.
Spratum?
Spring/autumn. I lived in my van, never saw my husband, but it was okay because my sacrifice was making Bailey a better player.
But we encourage our kids to play sports so they become better people.
Tell that to the little brats, huh? Who play other sports during the rest of the year and then steal all the spots on the soccer team?
Perhaps those kids are better athletes because they play other sports?
That makes no sense. Bailey is out there every day, kicking the ball until her feet are numb.
You say that like it's a good thing.
And then one day, out of nowhere, Bailey tells me that she doesn't want to play soccer anymore. She can't even look at a soccer ball after all the years I put in.
How old is Bailey now?
Going on 7, why?
When a child plays only one sport, sometimes they have a higher risk of suffering repetitive injuries. They can burn out, and they get turned off sports altogether.
I found myself at 5 o'clock in the morning the other day, sitting in the van, and I realized I'm not a soccer mom anymore.
Encourage Bailey to try different sports.
So I shouldn't have sold the van.
Or would anyone else like to share?
I wish that were pretty far from the truth, right? But unfortunately, some people work through that. So parents, I would tell you that, and this is coming from a now current youth sport parent, right? Everyone enters with the greatest of intentions. They want what's best for their son or daughter. They want them to have every opportunity available. And unfortunately, sometimes they get information that's not incredibly accurate. And so what I like to always share in meetings like this is just a snapshot that your child's success or lack of success in sports does not indicate what kind of parent you are. But having an athlete who's coachable, respectful, a great teammate, mentally tough, resilient, and tries their best is a direct reflection of parenting. That makes it sound easy, right? But that's an incredibly difficult task. And so we would like to come alongside you too. And so if you go on our website anytime, under our parent section, you will find what we've created as a parent guide. And it'll have information about everything from conflict resolution to our booster club to what does it look like to help live out our mission. All right? And so I would encourage you to definitely check that out as we go forward. Because in the end, the true focus of what we want to be about is not only where they are now, but what does it look like when they walk across the stage. So we really believe in coaching the whole athlete. You'll hear a lot about our positive coaching pieces, and sometimes people get lulled to sleep because they think, oh, positive coaching, that's probably one of those places where everybody gets a trophy and everybody feels good about themselves, and all it is high fives. What I would define positive coaching as is absolutely demanding, as having complete accountability and being able to come alongside someone and say, here's where you are now, but here's how you're going to grow. And I'm in this corner with you. So those are the things we talk about constantly as coaches. What does it look like to help every single student athlete take that next step? Really quick before you run, if you don't know already, and they're actually out in the hall tonight, our West Booster Club is an amazing group to get connected with. Every year, they are climbing and climbing the amount of money that they give back to our athletic programs, usually averaging somewhere in the neighborhood of $75,000. They make their money through concessions, through apparel sales that you see in the hall. They also make their money through memberships. And what a membership is let's say I had a family of 4 and I'm walking through the gate at a Friday night, football game, maybe it's a girls volleyball, whatever it might be, I'm shelling out money for every person in my family constantly. Or I can go buy a booster membership. Now, if I walk to the gate and I'm paying them directly, all of that money, for better or for worse, goes into the general fund of the School District of Waukesha. So it benefits all of us in some way, shape, or form, but there's no direct tie. However, if I purchase a Booster Club membership, now every single penny of those funds will in some way be given directly back to Waukesha West Athletics. All right? I would also encourage you to check out down the hall. There's a station where they're advertising Westoverfest. It's one of the bigger fundraisers that we have available. They also do a Booster Club golf outing every year. They meet the second Wednesday of every month. So I'd encourage you to check that out. Likewise, we have another fundraising arm, and it's the Waukesha West Athletic Endowment Fund. So 4 years ago, we installed turf out in our stadium for soccer, marching band, football, FIAD, you name it. There's just so many uses for it. And because it was such a large fundraising venture, we learned that it's not very appetizing to try and raise $1.6 million all in one shot. And so we wanted to be proactive going forward. And so this campaign was started where right now we are looking to simply just grow that principal amount. And actually with barely scratching the surface, we have reached over $60,000 raised. We do so through private donations, through estate planning, the advertising that you see on the bottom of the stadium scoreboard, that all goes to the endowment fund. The banners that you see as you walk into the stadium, all of that goes into the endowment fund. The exciting part about this is that it's invested right now and the money is working for us. So out of that $60,000, more than $12,000 of that is earnings alone. And so our goal is as we hit years 8, 9, 10, and so on, we'll be able to start using some of those earnings to cost share large capital improvement, big time projects that can make this school even more special. And so as you invest, it's a step toward the future. I would be honest with you that as parents of 8th grade students, there might not be a day where they directly get to benefit from the endowment fund pullback, from using those earnings. However, the students who are coming behind them could see an amazing benefit. And so we talk a lot about being able to help leave a legacy in that way. If you're interested, there's also a page for that on our website. And finally, staying connected. Like I talked about, WolverinesPride.com. Also on Twitter, at Wolverines Pride. This is where you get to see the latest and greatest of everything going on. If you don't do anything else tonight, I would encourage you to check out those communication aspects so that you can stay in the loop. If you didn't notice already, set up in the cafeteria, we have dozens of tables that have our advisors and our coaches from our programs present. And so I'd encourage you to go connect with some programs you feel like you might be interested in participating with in the future, okay? If you have any questions, there's my contact info. I'd be happy to try and address them any other time. Have a great rest of the night.